The Racing Pod
on Off the Ball
with William Hill. Best odds guaranteed on all Irish and UK racing. 18 plus. See gamblingcare.ie.
And you are welcome to episode 54 of the Racing Pod. John Duggan and Johnny Ward with you here on Off the Ball. Remember, we're here every Friday with analysis, race previews, tips, stories, interviews, and the crack. The first half of the pod each week, free to air. The second part exclusively for members. So be sure to sign up by going to offtheball.com/join. And this week for members, we're going to focus on Saturday's cards at Navan and Aintree, and Sunday's action at Cork. We'll also get Johnny's charity bet in the member section. So fingers crossed for the weather. How are you, Johnny?
Is that John Duggan from the Wicklow count?
It is John Duggan here,
yeah.
And I
good fun.
Accurately predict that everything I say will come to pass, which is what happened. And that's all because of my politics study when I was a youngster in a different life.
I was strongly tipping up Sinn Féin to get the most seats, and it looked very, very likely, and in the end it was well beaten. At one point they'd gone in.
Not at all.
No, at one
Not
point.
At all.
I'm telling you, on the betting exchange at one point they'd gone very short, but then it probably hadn't counted the transfers. But it was a fascinating election. I'd say it was good buzz. Obviously, if you're Shane Hannon and you're in Cavan Monaghan for 3 days, it's tough enough.
I was told to bail and balk and whatever those words are, because the Wicklow count finished at 5:30 on Monday morning. And I got to the 8 o'clock stage on Sunday night when we'd already had the razzmatazz that he took the day before and Stephen Donnelly coming in on the Sunday. We knew that, this is done. To kind of paraphrase Ivan Yates. And I wasn't going to be hanging around until 5:30 to, as delighted as I was for anybody who's elected, including Edward Timmins, I was not going to hang around till 5:30 Monday morning. So I decided to get some schlepp.
Do you know what the funny thing is, in the days of technology and AI and all the amazing data we have, like, this could be literally worked out in seconds, like absolute seconds, but the drama is well worth it. It's kind of like, when I remember in the States when the men and the women who manned the toll booths as you drove the car, like that was it's obviously quite a boring job, but it was a job, and they'd get to know even the people coming and going, and it was just replaced by technology, and it was like...
Well, Pearse Street Dart Station, one of the proudest people I've ever seen do a job was the guy who took the tickets at Pearse Street when I was in college, coming in from South Dublin. So I always remember how proud he was of his job and took pride in his job. Technology
is great, but like actually meeting people, even in it's something I'm trying to do more in life. I live in Harold's Cross, and Harold's Cross is kind of like all parts of Dublin, it's kind of in flux, but if you're walking down the street, like, look at the person walking against you at times, and often he or she'll give you a smile, and it's actually lovely. It's just a lovely moment.
Well, there's so much hate online at the moment, and then I went down the County Centre. People were so sound and helpful down there, just doing their democratic duty, and we're lucky to live in a democracy where you can do that.
Absolutely, and we're lucky we can back horses.
Yeah, and Jack Kennedy, just first things first for the pod this week, just our heart goes out to Jack again. Another broken leg, so a sixth time he's had a leg break in his career. Happened last weekend at Ferry House. So look, speedy recovery, Jack. And, it's the nature of the game, but it's very tough.
Very tough, yeah. He did a piece with the Racing Post, I think, today with David Jennings talking about it. Like, Jack definitely needs to get strong advice in this, because it's happened a lot, and it's very worrying for his body going forward. And I've no doubt the first thing he thought of, he basically said, I knew straight away it was broken. When you've broken your leg 5 times, I guess the 6th time you've broken your leg. I mean, it's kind of hard to think, like, a guy in his mid-20s that, it's happened so much, but with respect, this can't keep happening to him long term. He's going to be a crock, like, he won't be able to walk, I'd say, or I'm speculating anyway. But the thing is with Jack, he just wants to get back riding. Everything been going so well, like, apart from he'd even won the champion. He'd even been champion jockey, even though he had a serious injury going into Punchestown, and everything had been going so well. But he's obviously been very unlucky, or a little bit fragile with his bones and so on.
Yeah, and you have the best of care, but as you say, look, I mean,
hoping to get back for Cheltenham, but
look, I think the best thing is for him to be right into his late 20s and his 30s. He'll want to ride for as long as he can.
Yeah.
And he's a great jockey, and he's a great ambassador. So we wish him the best. That's all we can do. And
excellent jockey, like, really, really, just never seems to get it wrong. Very natural, really good judge of where a horse should be. Horses jump for him. And again, you can imagine, like, he's had to imagine breaking your leg and just keep coming back. And I remember JD, I don't know who I was talking to. I think it was on Football Saturday after Seamus Coleman had that horrific leg break against Wales, and it visually looked like, how will this fella even walk again? Not to mind run again. But whoever was on with me at the time, an ex-footballer, said, like, actually you can recover from this injury, and it seems to be that way with Jack. He keeps recovering, but he does have to look at this long term.
Okay, and fast or slow, the horse is out for the season. Picked up a knock in the John Durkin chase at Punchestown lately, so we will not see him in the big races, in the Gold Cup races.
Yeah, I made a comment that he was extremely short in the market, 6-4. But like maybe he just wasn't able to perform on the day. I'm very disappointed for Connections. The fact that one of the quiet men of the game, Martin Brasler, he's a real old school trainer, doesn't court publicity and doesn't train that many horses. That he had this horse, and it is disappointing. JJ Slevin, the William Hill ambassador, was obviously aiming to come back to ride him the last day. It'll be really disappointing for him. Just takes a bit of gloss off that staying division.
Had a busy week. Apart from the election on Monday night, was the Mansion House for the HRI Awards, the annual jamboree to honour the great and the good of the sport. Just going through some of the recipients. The Horse of the Year was Galopin Des Champs, the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner. The contribution to the industry award went to the Aga Khan. The Flash Award for Aidan O'Brien. The National Hunt Award for Willie Mullins. The Flash Achievement Award for Gerry Keane. We'll hear from Gerry in a moment. The National Hunt Achievement Award for Tom Gibney, the trainer of Intense Raffles, who won the Irish Grand National. The Emerging Talent Award went to James Ryan. We'll also hear from James. Great to see David Christie win the Point-to-Point Award. The Racecourse of the Year, Fairy House. And the Ride of the Year, you spoke about JJ Slevin there. He was awarded that for Nürburgring in the Galway Hurdle. But Willie Mullins, let's hear from the Carlow-based trainer now, reflecting on Annus Mirabilis.
You couldn't dream it, you couldn't write it, but everything just kept happening as the spring rolled on. The horses were in just such tremendous form. Paul was riding so well, and indeed Danny and Patrick, all the team, the riding winners everywhere, and it was just extraordinary.
Would you single out a highlight?
Where do you start? Aintree National, Gold Cup, Champion Hurdle, and I think the same in Ireland, the Gold Cup in Ireland, the Champion Hurdle. Tom Gibney won the national, beat us, and a deserving winner. It just and then going back to trying to win the British Championship, and we drew a blank in Perth, but then we had a fantastic time in Ayr, and back to Sandown, and the day in Sandown was just tremendous. The amount of our friends that actually flew over just to be there, and the reception we got from the British public, we were bowled over by it. Everyone genuinely happy that there was a competition, and to see all our good horses in England, that really surprised me, that the reception we got from the ordinary British punter.
That was after 70 years, Vincent O'Brien. And here at the HRI Awards night, Willie Galopin Des Champs, Horse of the Year. Talk to us about what makes him so special.
Well, I think his temperament, he's just so laid back. And then when Paul gets up on him, he can just set him into sort of dynamic mode, and he jumps out, and he's, now that we've got used to the way he likes to be ridden best, gets on with the job early, and he, fantastic jumper. He's got plenty of size and scope, can stand back or fiddle a fence. But I think his temperament is probably the best thing, that he can settle when Paul wants him to settle now. Wasn't always like that in the early part of his career, but he's more the round racehorse now.
What is the secret to all of this? Is it just getting horses there in good shape? You've got a great team around you. I even picked up the paper there, the Examiner, last week, and I read this headline. I'm trying to make a living here, so it's not just sport, it's also business. A lot going into this.
Oh yes, I mean, people wonder why I haven't, why I keep going, but I enjoy it hugely, and I think I also enjoy the people that we meet. I mean, I have a great team. We say that all the time. You can't do it without the team, but it's the owners as well. The people, really genuine people who love horse racing, who love horses, and they make it so easy for us, I think, to have owners like that. They're special. They aspire to have as good a horse as we can all get, and they enjoy it, and that makes our part of the work very easy.
Willie Mullins there. I was working out, Johnny, that he only had 28 winners in Britain last season, but enough to win the title for the first time in 70 years as an Irish trainer.
Yeah, and obviously winning the Grand National, sealing the deal and all that. But he's I did actually did a piece with him for the Business Post. He was awarded with another kind of a business award last night, sponsored by KPMG, some kind of an outstanding a standing contribution to Ireland. That would have been interesting. So he's had a very eventful week. Both of us interviewed him on the back of winning an award. But he's an extraordinary man. Like, he was actually a while to get going. You know, he didn't sort of the last century was, I think tourist attraction was the mid-90s, whether or which around that time. And then
I have the stats if you want.
Florida Pearl, yeah.
103 Cheltenham winners. The first 15 Cheltenhams, 16 winners. The last 14 Cheltenhams, 87.
Yeah, it's incredible. Some factors at play there. I think you can look at the change in Irish economy, and you know the prize money here, which has gone way back now, but prize money was getting better. And he would just make the point that, like, when his dad was training and he was riding, the horse was for sale. Like basically the economy was bust here for, you know, from his father was sort of 50s onwards. So when Willie was born then so riding in the 70s, 80s, like the horses would just be sold or for sale. But then the good Irish owner was able to keep the horse here. And like it's remarkable to think that the stats that you say, like Willie Mullins had a winner maybe every other year at Cheltenham or every year and a half or whatever. But now he's just expected to dominate and have more winners than the British. I think he's you look at the clients he has as well, like JP McManus, Joe Donnelly, Tony Bloom, who's the owner of Brighton, Jigginstown back again, you know, Rich Ritchie, all these, like, you know, and a lot of them not Irish as well, and they're happy to have them with Willie.
James Ryan then winning the Emerging Talent Award, the young flat jockey from North Dublin. He's hoping his 2024 is a portent of things to come.
Thanks very much. No, delighted now. It's big thanks to Tom McCourt, my boss. He's been great for me. It wouldn't be possible without him, and Conor Maxwell as well. Conor actually started me into the racing, doing pre-trainers and breakers during lockdown. So them and Gerry Lyons have been very good to me. So it wouldn't be possible without them.
You're in your early 20s. You're champion apprentice, and it was a really good battle for the title.
Yeah, exactly. It was a right out. It was down to the wire, but no, listen, a great bunch of lads. I get on very well with Adam and Wayne, and listen, it could have gone either way, and I was just lucky I got to roll of the dice.
So what height are you now, James?
Just about 5'11" and a bit, so we don't measure ourselves. We're hoping not growing any further, but no, yeah, I'm tall enough, but I've been lucky enough. I've been staying light.
So what weight can you easily do?
Well, my minimum weight at the moment is 8'9", but listen, I watch my weight at the moment, and I'd mind myself doing. I'd only do sort of 3 off 9 stone at the moment during the winter. So yeah, we have to mind ourselves so it doesn't get out of control.
So with your height, is there a way you have to maybe monitor, like, are you eating? Are you a man for the saunas, or is it just like a very much a regulated diet?
Yeah, plenty of riding out keeps it down. I'm fortunate to keep busy enough. I ride out in the mornings with Tom or Jer, and then I'm in the evenings with Conor Maxwell if I'm not racing. So plenty of riding out, keeping busy, keeping active, and keeping a decent diet as well. So no, that normally keeps it fairly right.
And for such a tall jockey, I mean, did you have to get maybe advice or instruction about how to ride, or did you just kind of develop it naturally yourself? Because it is unusual for somebody to be this tall as you are and to be a flat jockey. Yeah,
exactly. Well, you'd sort of watch on TV the whole time, watching lads like Ruby Walsh, AP McCoy riding when I was younger, watching them in Cheltenham, and then sort of as I grown up, and Conor always helped me on the simpler. He sort of tell me to watch the likes of Kevin Manning and Richard Hughes as well, the two taller lads, how to get down underneath a horse. So you try to pick a bit of piece of it off everything and try to put it together.
What ride gave you your biggest thrill this year?
It was very nice to ride the Apprentice Derby for the second year in a row, but no, listen, it was great to get my first group win at the end of the season. It topped it off, so no, that was probably one of my highlights.
And you got a twin in the game?
Yeah, exactly, twin brother. He's an amateur jockey. He's mainly based with Tom Draper and Conor Maxwell. So no, he got his first winner. I think it was 2 days after the end of the season. So no, we were delighted for him.
Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan Ryan.
And are you each other's best friends, or is there healthy rivalry? How do you not get under each other's skin?
Yeah, healthy rivalry. Yeah, no. Listen, Ivan's great. He's in fairness, he's driven us a couple of long journeys during the summer, and I go point to point with him in the winter, so it works out well. And no, plenty of rivalry at home, but listen, we want to see the best for both of us.
The Dundalk's great. It has Wednesdays and Fridays now. What's your plan for 2025?
Yes, so I'll stick around for the winter, listen, just try to keep contacts going, and we'll keep tipping on into the summer, and hopefully we can keep it going.
James Ryan there was sitting beside Adam Caffrey as well at the dinner, and North Dublin and Meath well represented from these young flat jockeys.
Yeah, James is really remarkable. Like, I was talking to Michael Graham working for PA at Dundalk recently, and he was just pointing out that the family, probably Ivan as well, but they're very, very talented at whatever they put their finger to. So, like, I think Gaelic games, even cricket, whatever they try, they're very good at. And like James is he just carries himself so well for such a young man. And I've always gotten that feeling with him. Whenever you do an interview post race, he's really, really mannerly. And whether he won the apprentice title or not, he was going to be the same person. And it was between himself and Adam Caffrey and Wayne Hassett. And like Wayne Hassett remember the days when like Martin Pipe would be going for the title against whoever it was, like, and they'd be just literally throwing everything at it, like running horses twice in a day to get over the line and all of that. Like Wayne Hassett took a lot of rides towards the end, and look, I thought he'd get over the line, and James more or less had kind of what was there for him, but he still managed to do it. And I mean, obviously, as you alluded to in the piece, JD, his height is going to be difficult for him. He still has some growing to do. Richard Hughes was quite tall. Kevin Manning performed miracles, and I mean miracles, to ride as long as he did with the weight that he had. But it'll be difficult for James. If you look at him compared to Wayne Hassett, like Wayne Hassett is absolutely a flat jockey to look at. James isn't. He's national hunt jockey, if anything. But an outstanding season. I feel that, to be honest, like the one thing I would say is, like, just last year, the champion apprentice Jamie Powell, he's had a very, very difficult second season. Now, he won the Northumberland Plate in Alphonse le Grand, won it, blah, blah, blah. But he won it in the end. So that was a great end of season for him. But he's a good, and he spoke about this in Newcastle, or rather in Newmarket. He's a good example of the second season after you win the Prince. It's tough, and you have to be conscious of that. It's not easy to become a very good senior after being a very good minor.
There was a lot of warmth in the room as well, Johnny, for Gerry Keane, father of Colin Keane, the top jockey and trainer of Royal Ascot winner Crystal Black this summer. So Meath trainer Gerry suffered serious injuries in a fall on the gallops in April of 2021. He was delighted when he spoke to me that he was acknowledged by his peers.
It's unbelievable, John. There was look stiff opposition we were up against, so I thought the nomination was great, but I didn't expect to win it, to be honest with you.
How many horses did you have, Gerry?
Well, as regards racing, we have about 12 to run. We always have between 12 and 15 to run, and then we could have 40 between pre-trainers and breakers. That's our main income, if that's the saying goes.
So when you got Crystal Black into the yard, did you think this horse is special?
No, not really. We had it was a slow start with him. Colin rode through himself for the lads. And they said to him I think they met him in Hong Kong or somewhere, and they said, if you ever come across a horse that we could have with yourself, we'd be interested. And it was a year later. Normally in those situations, if you ring a fella a year later, he'll have forgotten about you. And he rang Neville and he says, I have a horse that might suit you. And Neville says, if you think it's the one, you buy him. And he bought, I think it cost 35 sterling or something like that at the time. And he bought him, and we got the horse, and he had plenty of issues. He was bleeding, and he was suffering from allergies, and we changed things around anyway. He ran 4 or 5 and he ran disappointed, and his scopes were always wrong. There was always an excuse for his disappointment. And then we went to the Cora one day, and we kind of thought we had him right. We had scoped before he ran and he won. And the pressure was off then, because I told the lads to have a few quid in him that day, and they did. The lamped on him, as the saying goes. And we said we aimed for the Cambridgeshire then, and he was beating 2 necks. And Colin says he just felt he wasn't right. He said he stopped in the last 50 yards. He said he came to win and stopped. He's beating 2 necks, and so he said maybe we'll forget about him in the election. I said he's in the Northfields in 2 weeks' time, so we're this far. We'll take our chance. And we brought him home. We didn't put him in. We threw him out in the paddock. And didn't put him into a stable for the 2 weeks, and he came out and he won the Northfields, and he hasn't been beaten since. And so then we built a woodchip paddock from the next year, and put a shelter in it. He can go in now himself if he wants to, and that's. I don't know whether that's a success to him or not, but it obviously must have helped anyway.
So he wins at Royal Ascot this year. When you arrived at Royal Ascot, were you hopeful? Were you confident? How are you feeling?
We were obviously hopeful. After he won in the Curragh before Royal Ascot, the week before the Royal Ascot, we thought he was entitled to take his chance, and we had him in 3 races. And Colin reckoned the 1.5 miles was the one that would be less competitive to 3. So we said we'd aim for that then, and he went over. We were afraid of the ground, obviously. We weren't afraid of the trip.
And he showed great acceleration to come and to win in the final furlong. A great ride from Colin. And what were your emotions when it was happening?
So I knew turning in. When we turned in, I thought a bit far back maybe, but when we came near the furlong and a half, I could see him getting. And when he pulled him wide, I knew he must have been confident enough that he had plenty of horse to do that and come wide. So I knew it after the furlong pull. I said, we have a great chance here. And then the rest is history, as the saying goes.
It's a fun syndicate.
The lads went mental. There's only 4 lads in the syndicate, but they have a lot of friends.
Wear a pink ribbon syndicate, is it?
Yeah, they wear a pink ribbon syndicate. They're from Neville. They're from different parts, really. Neville is from up there, Glen of Amal, some up around there, and Herbie, 2 of them. They're the 2 main. I think they started the syndicate. And the other chap, Tom Fallon, is from somewhere in Kilkenny, I think it's Kilkenny. And the other chap, Conor Duffy, is from Armagh. So they're 2 different parts of the country.
So what did you do that night?
We went back to their hotel and there was a big party. It hadn't really sunk in then, to be honest with you, because we went on, and then on the following Sunday, they came down to our local pub in Trim, another big party, and that's when it started to sink in what happened. And you don't realise, like Royal Ascot is massive, which I never, as I says, I thought I might have a horse to run in a handicap in Leopardstown or something, or not Leopardstown, in Cheltenham maybe, because we've had nice horses over the years, but we never had a horse like this. I never thought I'd have a horse for Royal Ascot. So it was just unbelievable, really.
You've had a bit of a tough run yourself. How are you feeling now? You had a bit of an accident.
Yeah, I had a bad fall there I think it was 2020. It was during COVID anyway, 21 or 20, and it'd be 4 years ago in April actually. And I was paralysed for 6 weeks. Didn't move my arms or my legs for 6 weeks, and then I started moving a bit, and I got round and got out of hospital on crutches after 3 months, and then I went to Dunleary for 3 months. So I was in hospital for 6 months. And I'm good. I'm slow, but I'm good, and I'm living a normal life.
You had a fall.
Fall off a horse, yeah. We ducked off the gallop, and he missed the gap, and he fell across the bank, and he just threw me across his head. And stupid. It's a very simple fall, but it's just one of those things, you know.
And you obviously needed a lot of support from everybody to help you through this.
Oh yeah, well the family were great. Everybody was great, and I still do a lot of physio and things, but I don't need, as regards, I'm living a normal life as regards assist. I don't need any assistance from anybody. I can do what I want, but I just can't do anything physical, really. You know, I can't walk physically, but I can drive the lorry, I can do the gallop and all that, drive the tractor and drive the jeep, anything like that, you know.
Scary experience, obviously challenging mentally as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it was, yeah. But if you thought about it, obviously, but mentally, I don't know what I thought when it was happened. I can just imagine, but I know when I was lying up there and I couldn't move. I remember I was in hospital for over 6 weeks, and the first movement I made was I rang the bell for the nurse, and they couldn't ring it for. And the thing the nurse made about that made me say, what's going on here? And she says, you don't know what to believe. She says, your movement is coming back, she says. And I couldn't believe it, and that's the way it was,
And from there to a Royal Ascot winner is something to be very thankful for.
Obviously, yeah. Unbelievable, yeah.
From the silence of a hospital and that serious injury for Gerry Keane, Johnny, to the Royal Ascot winners' enclosure. What a journey.
Yeah, Crystal Black's dam, she's our mark. I actually remember her quite well for Pat Flynn. She won over 6.5 furlongs, and then her last win was over 1.5 miles, but she ran it for a horse of a lot of ability. She ran an awful lot. And Jerry's horse then had kind of won 1 from 9 starts from Dermot Weld, and looked like it's. I love those stories. Like, there's so much going on with any individual horse that you'll never see in the form book. Like that horse. I mean, if I were part of that syndicate, once you hear bleeding, like, that's a massive no-no straight away. So it's an internal problem that if you're involved with a horse that bleeds, it's generally just, you're as well off cut ties, because it's difficult to have faith in the horse, and the horse had other issues as well, started scoping wrong. But sometimes, like, this is the thing as well. If you give a small trainer a decent horse, he can give it so much time, because he doesn't have that many horses, and he probably felt, Jerry's probably like, this horse definitely, if I can get him right, he could go places. But like 30 grand, and then to win a Royal Ascot, and was on the verge of going to Australia for the lads, this is worth more than Aidan O'Brien having 100 winners. I'm telling you, that's just the way it is, and Aidan wouldn't disagree. It's a small man, and it's funny, like, I've a 5.5-month-old now, and sometimes you're looking at him to see, like, do I see any of myself in him, or does he look like me, does he look like his mother? When Colin Keane gives you a bit of a smile, he's exactly like his father. Like, he's exactly like him. And a lot of Colin's success is down to his, I don't know his mother, but down to his parents, and down to how good his father looked after him when he was rising to the top. He's a brilliant ambassador for racing, but like, Jerry's just an absolute gentleman. And that story has been one of the stories of the Flash for the last, like, two decades for me. Just where he's come from and where he might go yet, because, like, that horse could have been written off, his problems, we'll do this, we'll do that, no good. But he gave him the patience, and I love when, you're rewarded in the end.
Well said, Johnny. Just before we go to the members section, pick one horse, will you, for the weekend to keep an eye out for? Not the charity bet now, because we'll come to that in a bit, but maybe one horse to follow for the free tear.
Yeah, I'm going to give a horse actually the big price. I was looking at Navan tomorrow, and we do have Storm... Dara on the way, yeah. Dara Maloney, quick to disassociate himself from it. So I'm just looking at the west of the country tonight, like really, really heavy winds. But the racing at Navan, they've the 142 is a fascinating race, because you mentioned Tom Gibney. Intense Raffles makes his
Bryony Frost
return under Bryony Frost in a handicap hurdle, off a mark of 141, which actually is pretty much what he won the national off. Now, you'd imagine that this isn't going to be his sort of cup final or whatever, but there's a horse in the race, Oscar's brother, I'd definitely be interested in. I feel he might be on quite a nice mark. First winner for Conor King the last day. But just looking at some of the others in the race, Digby's a horse as well. Back Me or Sack Me. There are plenty of these that you'd be sort of given a realistic chance to. But Manila 6-0 for Gordon Elliott. I do quite like this horse of 133. One start in a point-to-point one. One start straight over hurdles, 11-10 under Jack at Ferryhouse 1. Second to Potter's Charm at the October meeting at Cheltenham. But then stepped up to 2-7 at Thurles the last day. All he does is stays. Now, any rain that'll come will help him. But the bottom line here is it's 3 miles won at Navan. Whatever the ground, this will be a slog. It's going to take a lot of getting. And if he is up there kind of at the second last, I'd give him a massive chance, because he's a really likeable type. I like what Gordon said after his victory the last day. When he was kind of workman-like, but he beat Mr. Pink. He said he's going to win lots of races, this horse. And Danny Gilligan, I don't know, Danny and Sam Ewing, I guess, are going to dispute the main rides now with Jack gone.
Okay, Manila 6-0 each way for Johnny then at Navan. This is on Saturday. That's the radio pick. 1:42 is the time. My pick is in the 1:50 down memory lane at Sandown in the Henry VIII Novices Chase. So that is the free to air section of the Racing Pod complete, folks. So if you want to look for more, including our look now at Saturday's cards at Navan, at Aintree, at Sunday's Hillyway Chase at Cork, at the Tingle Creek as well at Sandown, and Johnny's charity bet, go to offtheball.com/join to subscribe and get the full podcast with all of our racing tips, interviews, insights and stories from the week's action.